From dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, episode 85. Chris here in the studio, and we did another remote podcast.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good?
I'm good.
Lorenzo, wake up.
Jeez, he's out.
I mean, seriously, dude, I don't know.
He's been sending us on all these missions, and he hasn't really stepped up to the plate
He
himself.
hasn't even helped out. I mean, we put in hours and hours of travel time the last few weekends.
Yeah.
Trying to wrap up the year with a bang, getting prepped for KOH.
Right.
Although Kevin Jones doesn't like the word prep, so I don't even know what we say anymore. I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Just take it.
I don't even know.
And rebuild it.
Just I'm working on stuff to go to KOH.
Yeah.
We're recording stuff to go to KOH.
That's right.
To record on the lake bed.
We're going to be recording
live
on the lake bed. Oh yeah. Well, it won't be live. We'll be live.
Well,
on the lake bed,
remote. On remote. I always
right.
have trouble with that because we're not syndicated radio deal.
No, right. But the build-up, the anticipation, the excitement is ramping up quickly.
I mean, how cool is this? So we interviewed Kevin Jones.
Right.
Followed up with him. That was the second podcast with him.
Right.
Amber Turner.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, Amber the Hammer.
Yep.
I mean, need I say more? She kicks ass and takes names.
Yeah, she's a pretty big
and
deal.
she does it with a smile. That's the great thing. Now we got Willspec Garage coming up, part 2 of the EV build.
That's
EVE,
right, EVE.
Electric Vehicle Experiment.
Right.
And I got to tell you, these guys are inventing shit every day to make this thing happen. And nothing's going to please me more to see all of our drivers. I call them our drivers.
You're right. Well,
and we also got Justin Hall coming up here too.
Yeah.
But in Arturo, we're going to talk about Arturo in a minute.
Yes.
But I just, nothing pleases me more to see all these teams get to the start line.
Yeah.
And take off from the start line.
Absolutely.
After that point, it's in the Hammer God's hands.
That's right.
But there's a shit ton of getting to that point. I want to say preparation, but Kevin Jones is like scarred me.
This isn't his episode, so it isn't. Say it.
Okay, so all this preparation,
yeah,
to get to that moment,
right,
in time. And I love, last year being media and being damn near face to face,
yeah,
without a mask, non-COVID years,
non-COVID.
We're going to call this before COVID, BC. Before COVID. Okay. And seeing the look on their faces and the determination and all that preparation has culminated to that point,
right,
to get that car and their crew to the line to take off at KOH. And that's the story we've been telling here with all these different teams.
Exactly.
And it's been fun.
Exactly. Crazy.
It is crazy, and it's really crazy for them. We've been working our asses off getting this all these different podcasts together, but
yeah,
I mean, the late nights in the garage, again, preparing for the race.
Well, you got to think. I mean, look at how they psych themselves up. I mean, it's just. I mean, because it's like, look at if we could talk about Kevin Jones. I mean, he's kind of a one-man band. I mean, yeah, he's got his family support. His father lives close by and can jump in there and help out. But and he transports his transmission and all of his bits to different locations to get them worked on and rebuilt.
The power steering sent out, the shocks, whatever.
Right. I would think that on the bulk of the teams that go, or the bulk of the racers that go to KOH are similar to Kevin Jones. It's the one band and they're not all the Gomez brothers with the big custom garages and and the Campbells and so on and so forth. So
Levi Shirley,
right?
I mean, you got to respect those guys. I mean,
exactly.
they work to get to that point too. But
I'm not
discounting those at all. But the common folk,
exactly,
the common folk like us.
So it's exciting. I mean, we're definitely covering it and getting the story out to you, our listeners, which is our mission, part of our mission. Our mission is to have fun and convey this great message to all of you.
Yes. And so we followed back up with Willspec Garage.
We rolled over there.
So Will, Kyle, and Jeff were there that night.
That's right.
And it was cool because it was, I'll say, kind of a quiet night. I mean, there was work going on, but it wasn't like,
there's no quiet night there.
Assholes and elbows running around that garage in that car.
Right.
And they had the electric motor in place with the coupler that they had machined out to connect that motor to a Toyota transmission.
Right.
So they had the splines, that shaft with the special splines to adapt those two. They had the battery trays figured out,
right?
And how they were going. So I mean, they're figuring this thing out as they go along. They have a plan,
right?
But obviously you start working on this car and go, okay, wait a minute, no, this is a good idea. Let's incorporate this and do that, and that's what you're going to hear about in this interview with them.
This update,
the update with Kyle, and Jeff and Will, and I just. Nothing's going to. I mean, all these drivers that we've interviewed, I'm super stoked about.
Yeah,
but it's going to be, these guys are what do I want to say? This is something that's never been done before.
We're reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, and it's a first. It's a first.
It's exciting,
and we're cheering everybody on, and I'm super excited to see this electric vehicle take off the line, and I want to get audio of it taken off the line.
Nope, there you go. So, yep.
So
super cool.
Let's get into that interview, huh, Chris?
Let's roll it.
All right. Chris, we're here live in the Willspec Garage.
Yes, we are.
With Will, Jeff, and Kyle.
That's right.
What's up?
How's it going?
Hey.
Yay.
All right. So as promised, we wanted to come back, and I guess you kept the garage door open for us, so we appreciate that. We didn't know if you're going to let us back in to the compound here, so I appreciate that, Will. So hey, updates. We want updates. Our listeners want updates on and the last episode. They had a lot of questions. Questions about clutches, batteries, reverse, forward. How's this thing going to work? So let's Kyle's the technical guy here, I guess. So we'll let him answer some of these really technical questions. Everybody's nodding their head. Okay.
Also, if anybody listening is technical, I also have questions. So
so he hits the D button and pushes the pedal to the floor.
Yeah.
It's magic.
So when we rolled into the shop tonight, the motor was sitting there, the electric motor with the pack on top, the what'd you call it? The inverter sitting on top. So that's all one unit, the inverter and the motor.
Yeah.
And then you just had machined up and welded the coupler, the shaft between the motor and the transmission, the Toyota transmission.
Yep.
But there's no clutch.
No clutch.
No clutch. So
Don't need
explain. Don't need no stinking clutch.
No. Come on, it's 2020. We don't need no clutches. So basically, the way we want to try to reduce rotating mass anywhere we can,
right.
And that's already true in racing.
Okay.
So if we can not have a clutch, then that's what we want to do. So the thing is with electric cars, right? So as you're driving, you're on the gas, right? You're in drive, and you want to shift. With us, because we have a late model AC motor, you can enjoy regeneration. So when you get off the gas, you get a little bit of regen.
Right.
So it turns into a generator and puts juice back into the batteries.
Yeah. So that's all part of why we went with this platform. Yep. And then so when you want to go for a shift, you're going to let off the gas. You're going to switch the electric drive control to neutral.
Okay.
So now the motor is in neutral.
Okay.
And then you will go for your shift with the transmission lever, and then so basically in a regular engine, the transmission has synchros that will change the speed of the shafts in the transmission to match the speed of the engine, because you have a
Correct.
V8 or whatever that has a lot of rotating mass. You have a heavy flywheel,
right?
And it's not going to want to go a different speed because of inertia. Well, with an electric motor, we only have one rotating part. One. And that's the rotor inside of the stator.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so it's actually light and it doesn't have a lot of inertia. So it kind of does the reverse. So when we go to shift with an electric motor, the synchros will actually change the speed of the motor to match the transmission, and we'll get a decent shift.
Okay, there you go.
The other thing is that because we have about the same amount of torque from 0 all the way up to our red line, so to speak, we really won't be shifting that much. I anticipate we'll just be using second and fourth basically all day.
I was going to say, you're pretty much going to pick a gear after you experiment with this thing, and you pretty much stay in that gear until you get into like rock crawling. Then the rock crawling section, then you'll be in low range or whatever, and gear down at that point.
We ideally we'll be able to leave the transmission in fourth, and then we'll just change the range box, the front 2.28 the range in front of the rear transfer case. But it's nice to have the different ranges of the 5-speed for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So we won't need to shift that much. But when we do, it might be a little bit. It's not going to be as smooth, maybe as a real setup, but it should be just fine. And then we can reduce the rotating mass of a flywheel and clutch and the complexity.
Sure.
So that's what we're going with.
Okay.
And then a little bit of a learning curve on learning how to drive again, I guess. Instead of pushing it, you have to have like a button on the gear shift.
Yeah, there's going to be. So I was thinking about mounting on the gear shift.
Neutral switch.
Yeah, sort of like an ignore button. So like as you go for the shift, you just grab the button as well, and it sort of like gives you a neutral for a second as you shift. But that for now, I think we're just going to go with the shift that came with the conversion. So
all right.
I don't know.
Can't find it, grind it.
Hell yeah, brother!
There you go.
Yeah, we're going to make the shifts. We're gonna make it happen. But it should be fine.
Right on. And then reverse. So that motor can go in reverse, correct?
Yeah, so just at the flick of a switch, the motor will turn the other way. So we don't have to actually change gears in the transmission to go the other way, to go in reverse.
Right, you just got to flip a switch.
So
that's kind of cool. I mean, think about like if you're going up, let's say back door, for example, and you're starting to get a little weird, you can hit a button and just instead of jamming your thing into reverse, you just flip a switch and you're backwards.
For sure, you can get out of trouble real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, at least a little quicker. It's just an electrical switch to instantly get reverse.
Wow.
So there'll be benefits there. And then also, if you put the transmission in reverse and then the motor in reverse, you can drive forward, which would be kind of fun.
Right.
It'll be fun to do.
Plenty of options.
Yeah, like that'll just be a neat thing.
If you lose any of your forward gears, you can use your reverse gear.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could use your reverse gear to go forward, for sure.
Well, and then it actually means R is for race. Maybe you should just start in R.
Maybe we should leave it in
You
R.
should. I would. Just to so you can say R is race.
Are we racing today? Well, it's in R. I don't know what to tell you.
The sun's out, so we're
the
going in
race
day mode. Put it
That's
in
right. Yeah, day mode. D for day mode. This is mind blowing shit, man. I love it. Okay, and then like your accessories. So you're going to have like a radio so you can communicate to the pits, and you're not going to be having air conditioning and stuff. But
they're going to have speakers so they can put that V8 sound out too.
Well, that too. No? So all your 12-volt, normal 12-volt accessories. So you've got a special converter for that.
Yeah, so it's going to have a 12-volt battery. All electric cars have a 12-volt battery. It's part of just having common automotive components like your lights and stuff and horn, all that stuff. That's all 12 volts, just like a regular car. But then it also has to do with safety. So like when you get into the vehicle and you turn the key, the 12-volt system fires up first, and it checks to make sure that everything's okay. If that's the case, it will close the 400-volt contactor and give high voltage out of the battery.
Oh, okay.
So every electric vehicle needs to have a 12-volt system.
Okay.
Got it.
Wow.
So that said, how do you charge that? We don't have a serpentine belt for an alternator. You have a DC to DC converter, and that converts 400 volts DC to 13.8 volts DC, right? And then you plug that to your battery, to the positive terminal of your battery, and that's how you keep your battery topped up at all times.
So it's like it works as your alternator,
right?
Type deal.
The component we got is 130 amps, so that's a pretty decent alternator size, 130 amps. It's not like, maybe there's got some cooler ones, but we don't have a big load on 12 volts, I don't think. So
Right.
yeah, that's a decent pulse. So we should be okay there. At least the other thing too is that we're going to be able to shut these systems off as we're driving. So our power steering pump is from a late model Volvo, or like a 2006 Volvo. It's an electric
So it's an
pump.
electric power steering.
Yeah, that's what it is. I got it from a junkyard, and so we can turn that off. Like if we're going straight for miles and we can see the road, and even if you have to turn a little bit, so what? We'll just turn the power steering off. Right.
And then, so you still have the mechanical linkage. It's
it's still
not full hydro.
Yeah, it still has a steering box, has an IFS box, and so we'll be able to drive. And then when we're really in the rocks or we're doing some stuff, that's when we'll turn it on. Same thing with the Brake Master. So the Brake Master, I have a late model Chevy vacuum pump.
Yep.
And then, so that will be switched to the brake pedal. So when you hit the pedal, that's when the pump will come on. And so when you're driving, the pump's off, right? If you're going like straight down the road.
Right.
And then
now, won't the motor actually act? Does that give you some braking as well?
So yeah, because when you're in regen, it's working against the wheels, right? So you're slowing down. The other thing I'm going to do, I plan to. I hope this works out. I'm going to wire a potentiometer or like a transducer of some kind to the clutch pedal, because we don't have a clutch anymore, but we still have the pedal in the car.
Okay.
So instead of using the brakes, I'm going to push the clutch, and as far as I push it, the motor will work harder and harder against the wheels.
Okay.
And I know that I'm not on the hydraulic disc brakes at all, because I'm on I'm not touching it at all,
great feature
right?
there.
So basically, I will never touch the brakes all day. I'll just use the clutch pedal, which is actually my regen on my motor.
So it's dynamic braking.
Yeah, and then so my left foot will be on the clutch pedal, and then my right foot's hovering over the brakes. And if I get the clutch pedal to the floor, so that's all regen possible, and it's still not going slowing down quick enough.
Yeah,
I'll grab the hydro brakes with my right foot.
Okay, perfect.
That's kind of like the Jake brake on the truck. So
yeah.
You know,
same kind of idea.
You're able to kind of turn down the motor compression there, increase the compression there for the motor.
Jake brakes sound awesome.
I know. Yeah, that's cool. So you need another noise to pipe into that speaker.
Yeah, it'll also have a sensor, and we'll get the Jake brake channel playing out when we're on the. That sounds like
Oh my god!
So I think if we're in like 4 low and we're in first or second gear, I think full regen should pretty much hold the car, even in rock crawling situations.
Freaking phenomenal.
So then you're not even on your disc brakes at all, and everything you do going downhill is putting juice back in the battery. Which is the idea.
You're kind of thinking what I'm thinking in the golf cart, right? Like the newer golf carts do that. They regen, and then they have that dynamic braking, and that's basically what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, it's similar also to the hydrostatic mowers that I operate. You know, the dynamic braking, you let up on the pedal, and it's the hydraulic.
It's like one
pedal electricity,
operation.
You've got hydraulic oil.
Yeah, but we're not regenerating electricity. It's just whatever. So.
Right.
Cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, an electric water pump as well, and an electric fan, all 12 volt.
So let's talk about cooling. So there is, you were pointing that out when I first got here, there is cooling for the electric motor. And the inverter on top there.
Yep.
And so you'll have just a little Toyota radiator. I mean, how hot does that thing get? I mean, what temperature does it like to run at?
Manifold burritos.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Well, it's not really a trail car if you can't cook taquitos and
right.
You know. So no, it.
Yeah.
So the radiator that came out of the Leaf is extremely small. It's
like
ridiculously small. And originally I wanted to use it, but it doesn't really fit in the Toyota packaging. So we're just going to go with the Toyota radiator. And we'll have an inline 12-volt pump.
Sure.
And we'll have a 12-volt fan.
Sure.
But I don't anticipate that we'll need to use the fan, because this motor and the controls, they actually stay pretty cool. So if it starts to get hot, the first thing we'll turn on is the pump. So we'll start circulating coolant
through the radiator.
And then if it continues to get hot, we'll turn the fan on. And that should be plenty of cooling for what we're doing. Because another thing about the way that we're going to race is that we're not going to be balls out all day. You know, we're going to be kind of taking it easy, because we need to conserve the battery juice.
Sure.
Right.
That's our major race strategy. So we're not going to be going that hot. And they really don't produce that much energy. So an electric motor is like over 90% efficient, whereas a gas motor is like closer to like 50%. A lot of that energy from the gasoline gets turned into noise and heat.
Right.
An electric motor uses almost all of its juice to get turned into spinning energy, to torque. So we're actually, so our 200 torque motor and 100 horsepower motor is way more efficient than the 22 RE that came out of it.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
200 torques.
200
torques.
200 torques.
Oh my God!
and it'll pass smog.
And it will pass smog.
It can get
California
an Access
smog.
OK sticker.
Yeah.
You
You can go in the commute lane.
You should take it over to the smog guy, and he'd be like, "What in tarnation?"
Yeah,
carb compliant. Yeah, it's got a plate on it, or it did. It took tailgate off, but it's got a plate. I mean, it was on the road at one point.
Yeah,
right. That's cool. So you've made a lot of progress. There's a lot of things that have happened. You want to talk about the battery packs and how that's kind of coming along?
Yeah, so we since the episode we were able to take apart the Nissan. I think on that episode the car drove here. It did.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. It was while we were recording.
The Leaf showed up while we were recording. Yeah. Since then, we that Leaf is now scrap. Okay, we get obviously the motor out. Battery out, and then we tore down the battery. It's that Gen 1 and Gen 2 Leafs have 48 modules all in series.
Okay.
And we are setting them up as 24 modules in series in 2 separate sort of racks.
Right.
That way it makes them a lot lighter to pick up. So we basically wanted it for 2 pit workers to be able to pick one half of it up.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're going with. Because if they were all combined, it would be very heavy. You'd need 4 pit workers, and it would kind of stink to move around.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is that it's not only about just going in and out of the vehicle. It also needs to be put on a trailer or the back of a truck for charging and like moving the things around, right? So we split them up.
Well, and then looking at the racks that you've built in the back of the rig here, you need to make sure that these things, in the event of a rollover or an accident, they don't come out. They don't get ejected, if you will.
Yeah. So, I mean, ever from the beginning, from the outset of this goal was this project was safety. Like especially because we know that, electric high voltage kills. And EVs are very early in off-road still, I'd say. So we don't want to have a kind of a problem where we could be sort of a bad example for the future.
Right.
So we want to err on the side of safety at all times. Like because we want to be safe, but then also because we kind of are thinking that way, that we don't want to have an event that makes it look bad, so people don't do it. Right? Instead we want to create a roadmap. Like, hey, you can make your Yoda like this.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do it. So so we have like these really beefy 2-inch square tube 120 wall. Like it's like a locking mechanism. We're still like finalizing it, but these batteries are not going to come out of the chassis. Yeah. They're like if it's locked in, which it will be at pit. It's this car. The same way that you trust the roll cage, you will be able to trust the system that we've made for the batteries to not move. At least not majorly. They might move a little bit in the wreck, but they're not going to come out and get high voltage everywhere.
Right. But I mean, that's pretty cool. The concept that you came up with is sliding them in and out, because you obviously change out in the pits. So we were talking about that before, and like, hey, what are we going to do, or how are you guys going to do that? Not what we were going to do. We're going to be watching. But
three-phase,
so this is cool.
Which is a pretty cool side to be on.
I like this side of the microphone. Let me tell you,
we're having fun, but man, that's all.
Suck to be in that right now.
A lot of hours in the shop on this side of the microphone.
Well, we're gonna at the end of the show, we're gonna pack up and go home.
That's right. You guys got another 6-8 hours ahead
Bang
of you.
And clang,
clanging and blanging
until probably midnight, right?
Yeah.
Until the neighbors say something.
Yeah. Your neighbor's been cool so far.
Oh, totally.
That's great. That's great.
Love you, Dennis. Love you,
give a shout out to the neighbors.
Love you, and Fletcher.
Every neighborhood's got one.
Yeah,
and I think we were all that guy in the neighborhood at one point.
That's right.
We're
have 3 of them all together. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah, we've met them all though. They're super supportive. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm just now some other curiosity that I have. So you got these battery packs. You said they can be picked up by 2 people, 2 of your pit dudes
with good backs,
backs, and to move them out. So that's obviously a significant amount of weight that's going to be in the back. Plus, you're going to have a spare tire, tools, other sort of things, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of weight up front. Are you going to have to ballast the front to kind of balance the car out?
So so we're going to add roughly, and we'll find out later, but we're going to add roughly 1,200 pounds to the bed of this thing.
Okay.
Which in the bed previously was just a 30-gallon or so, or 25-gallon, I don't know, Jazz fuel cell.
Right.
And that's about it. A jack and I think a spare.
Right.
So we're adding a lot of weight to the rear. And you're right, we're really not adding anything to the front because that motor and inverter is lighter than a 22RE. And the components we're adding are so for sure we're going to have much more of a rear weight bias than this car was set up. Yeah, I mean it's part of the challenge.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you won't know until you get it going.
We didn't have enough time, so this is the chassis that we got, and these were the components that we got. We're gonna add compression to the rear shocks. That's part of that'll be our tune strategy going in. I'd love to add some more spring because that's the actual way that you fix that issue.
Right.
But these are the springs we got. They're Devers. They're nice stuff.
I was going to say, yeah, you've got some good suspension right now.
So kind of, it's not exactly part of the scope. As of right now, we're converting the car, and then we're going to see what we do. We're gonna go with some higher compression in the shocks, and that's kind of where we're at. We're adding a lot of weight to the back.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go back to the batteries real quick because we kind of glossed over the fact of it's two guys, but it's a pretty cool concept that you came up with here where they can slide in and then lock into place because you can't sit there and be cranking down bolts and stuff while you're in the pits, right? You're trying to do this as fast and as efficient as possible, and the system that you came up with is really cool. And then to expand on that, so you got a package in your driveway today, this black box with more batteries from another Leaf. So you said there's two different battery packs that come in these Leafs. So
it's actually really good timing today because you were here. I think the last time the Leaf drove here.
Yeah. And now this one just got delivered. Just the batteries arrived today.
An hour before this all started. Like it just showed up hot and fresh.
Our timing is impeccable.
That came from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Wheeling wine and whiskey.
It's
right? Tennessee. I didn't.
We need you guys to show up a little more often.
I know. Yeah. There you go.
No Jack Daniels.
Yeah, there should have been some whiskey on that crate.
Tennessee whiskey, but I like bourbon more.
There you go. All right. I lean towards bourbon too.
So from the get go, I got a 2015 Leaf. That's the Gen 2 car. It's got what they call the Lizard Pack because the Gen 2 batteries were more they were ready for more heat. They did better than the Gen 1. So
okay,
that's what I got. It's got a little more power, I think, but really the batteries were the same kilowatt hours, 24 kilowatt hours. That's not enough. That's not going to cut it.
Right.
So we would need to either add more of the Gen 2 batteries, which is how we kind of set the car up. Was you could have two full packs in the back, and that'd be roughly 1,200 pounds, but really for the 45-mile section that we face in our race, our EV race, that would be very, very optimistic. It is so that the later model Leafs like 2019, 18, 19, and 20, they had an option for a 40 kilowatt hour battery.
Okay,
and that's significantly more juice than 24, right? Almost double, right?
Almost double, yeah.
So, and those modules would actually fit in the racks that we made. They were a very similar configuration. They're hard to find. They're hard to. There are not very many available because
you didn't know if those packs were going to fit until just like half an hour.
Well, I knew the 40s would. But then there's also a brand new pack.
Okay.
Out of the 62 kilowatt Leaf.
Oh boy.
And that's even more juice, right? Triple the juice of what we got.
Right.
And that'd be nice, right? Sure. But then online you can see that they are different in a lot of ways, and we get in all the different ways that they're different, but they are. And so it was really hard to find 40s or 60s available anywhere. But there's one auto salvage company in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that semi-regularly has 40s and 62s available.
Okay.
And it's because they're less than a mile away from the supplier of the Nissan Leaf batteries.
There you go.
So I talked to the guy a little bit, and I found out that they asked the same price for the 40s or the 62s.
Really?
And I couldn't bring myself to spend the same money on the pack that I knew would work, but it's 40 versus the unknown that's 62. I was like, I can't do it. I talked to him about it. I was like, hey, man, I could pay a little less for the 40. It's what I need for my project. It's like, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. These things are flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
We the only ones that got them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll take a 60 then, and we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so it showed up here. and we just took it apart right now right before we started recording.
Just before
we were here for the reveal.
For the reveal, the clamshell there.
And yeah, so it's actually really it's awesome. They really looks like they're gonna fit. It looks like they're gonna fit in the car. Still have some questions about the connections, but I think we're going to make it happen. Woo! Physically, they should fit. Yeah, so it's super exciting to find out.
So just to give the listeners an idea of what this thing looked like, it's basically like a small rooftop tent that was sitting in your driveway on a pallet.
Yeah, like a Baroud.
Because see, our overlanders could relate to that.
They weighed 700 pounds, right?
Yeah, but it was 700 pounds roughly,
a little different there. Yeah.
And 400 volts, you said that thing can crank out?
Yeah, almost all electric cars operate on roughly 400 volts.
Okay, and so you were super excited when you showed up, and then there was like the center of this battery pack, if you will, had a plug and an interrupter.
Yep.
And so you immediately grabbed that and you said, okay, you pull this off, and then it basically makes it safe to...
I'm a little surprised.
Safer.
With it
Safer to handle, yeah.
Safer. Yeah. Why did it...
That's actually a fair question. I had thought about that, especially because it had been damaged. That pack had noticeable damage on the outside of it, and that's why it's for sale, right? I mean, if it was good, it would be in a new Leaf on the line.
Yeah.
So... you're right. That's actually an awesome
It came from
point.
Tennessee, Chris. I mean,
they're all drinking their bourbon and say, "Oh, let's leave the plug in."
From one redneck to another, this will be fine.
They'll get it. So basically, that's a plug that's available for access inside the car. So when a Nissan Leaf is all together, you can reach into the back seat, and then around in between where the two rear passengers would be, there's a small plastic lid, and you can pull that off with no tools. You can do it with your fingers if you had to. Underneath, you'll see the top of the battery, and what is right there is it's orange, and it's a plug, and you pull the connector off, and you lift the plug out, and that de-energizes the pack. So it separates the two halves of the pack. So still inside, there's a lot of juice, but at least to the outputs coming out of the battery, they don't have any juice.
So you could totally jack with your friends that have Leafs by doing that.
You could. It would still fire. If you hopped in the car and hit the switch, it would still fire up and all the lights would come on. And it would just have a high voltage fault. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It would be like a little voice that, ding, somebody took your internet.
It's got a battery missing light flashing on the dash.
Somebody stole your battery.
Your batteries are gone. So it was interesting because you said like the bottom of this pack is actually like the floorboard of the car, and then that upper portion that we were looking at is inside the car. But the thing is sealed really well, as you would expect, so that no water gets in there and
water dust.
Yeah. So you guys figured out a trick to get that thing open, and you had that thing open pretty quick. That was impressive. Matt, you're all about Matt.
Matt motherfucking gas.
I think that was that a 10 millimeter?
Yeah, it was 10 millimeter.
10 millimeter to get the bolts off, and then after that, they have a almost kind of like around your windshield, like a really thick
rubber.
Cock.
Rubber gasket.
Black rubber cock.
Yeah, black rubber.
Yeah.
So we got to get that black rubber cock out of there.
Black cock.
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying, it's what it was it not?
It was black cock.
Oh, yeah, see?
We had to figure out a way to handle that. So we used a torch and a hammer and a knife. That's how we did that.
And a chisel. I saw a chisel.
Chisel, and then so that I think that's the best way without getting like a specific tool for it, you know. So it's like, we figured out a way.
No, that's good.
And we were standing back with those riot gear shields.
Yes,
Jason
You're standing far away. These idiots are putting a torch to a battery. Like, what the hell?
Well, that's why I was waiting for a PG&E truck to drive by so I could grab their, fiberglass pole in case somebody lit up like a Christmas tree to yank them off of there,
Right. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, so you guys got it open successfully, and it was like Christmas.
Yeah.
Lots of excitement just because we looked at it and everything was still not burnt to a crisp on the inside.
Well, yeah, and dented, so there was no damage on the inside, and then you were excited, too, that the dimensions were what you were hoping the dimensions were going to be of the individual packs, so that's...
Yeah, they're slightly different, which is kind of what was anticipated, just based off of like some of the Nissan brochures. And because nobody, I couldn't find anything where somebody actually tore it apart and really got dimensions off it. So it's cool. We're part of DIY Electric Car. Our handle is Rock Crawler, and we have a post about it. And kind of like an old school build thread, like the way they used
like
to
the
be
old
on
pirate?
Yeah, like a pirate. Yeah, so I think we're also going to put our build on pirate, even though no one follows it like they should. But we're going to do a build on pirate.
I can't imagine the people that are on that forum are as brutal as cutthroat as they were on pirate. These guys, I got to imagine these are kind of. Am I stereotyping here?
Yeah, but it's fair. It's fair. Like, I think I'm the only. I think I'm the only
internet warriors, but dude, I can't see anybody that's. Okay,
we're probably the only ones that took a torch to a battery on that forum.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which is all, but I don't know.
There's not many rednecks on that forum. Let's put it that way.
And that's
Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement.
All right.
But in the same breath, there is still a lot of knowledge on that forum.
Well, no, and I wasn't discounting that. And that's what I actually wanted to get into was like, I mean, this is cool, the old power of the internet and stuff, and you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But I mean, how much information have you gained, and just all these questions that you have? Because I mean, you're in a total uncharted territory, and it's great to have some people out there that maybe had some experience with. Whatever part you're dealing with, right? And then they go, oh, well, here's how you got to do this, and don't mess with that, and blah, blah. So, I mean, yeah, how powerful is that been?
I don't know. Basically everything I've said so far. Let's put it that way.
Well, there you go.
I mean, with my own, educated best guess of my previous knowledge of off-roading and, stuff like that. But no, for sure, the internet is massively useful. I mean, hey, right here in the shop, in between two big tool chests, is a computer.
Right. A
with multiple screens.
Supercomputer.
Yeah.
With the biggest case I've ever seen, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, we use that a lot. And then when I'm at work, I'm pretty much on my computer looking at electric car stuff. In the dull moments of the day, of course.
But, I mean, it's just the evolution. I mean, you're not talking about LSs and Dana 60s. You're talking about Leaf motors and batteries and... Well, Dana 60s probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, the rest of the chassis, we're not necessarily tackling yet. But just looking at electrifying it, because I think that there really can be a lot of advantages to be had with AC electric motor propulsion.
Oh, sure.
That can improve upon. I mean, especially oh man, I don't want to put this out there too much, but especially when you look at moon buggies. I really think because they're on short courses,
sure,
right? They're not worried about capacity, right? What are they? Fuel tanks, right?
Yeah.
They're not worried about capacity. They're looking for on-demand torque, and it even doesn't need to be a lot. And there's a lot of other advantages that I think could be found.
I love that. That's
packaging.
exactly.
I mean, it's all
packaging,
about
right? There it is, packaging. And then so I mean, this way, hey, if you found a way to mount one of these motors on your front and rear axle, then your chassis is open. Your suspension is open.
You could literally put
whatever you want to do.
Dead center now.
You could do literally anything with the chassis and the way you want to set your links up. I mean, it really minimizes your constraints.
Who will be the first?
Well, I saw a rock buggy. Optima had it in their booth. I was trying to think of what show, though, I was at that had it.
Was it SEMA?
It wasn't. It wasn't SEMA. It wasn't SEMA. But anyways, they... It was brand new, and I was asking questions, and a lot of the answers were like, "No, it's not working yet. This doesn't work. We're trying to figure this out." There was a lot. It was early on, and they had a lot of batteries, and But anyways, I agree. I think there is huge potential to have a badass,
unlimited crawler.
Well,
if anybody's going to do it, it'll be Cody Wagner will do it first, I guarantee
I think mostly for that reason right now would be because they're not worried about range.
Right.
Now, when you start to worry about range, that's when the batteries really need to start, they need to become more
technology needs to catch up.
Yes.
There's a new company out, or I don't know how new they are, but QuantumScape has some really cool battery technology in the solid state field. And that's the type of stuff that we really need to see for our kind of play toys to get the range and power that we want.
Sure.
Obviously, already Tesla batteries are badass, but the quantum state, the solid state stuff is what's really going to take it to the next level, and that might produce, your winning Ultra 4 car. And it's
go.
a few years out, but that's on the horizon and it's coming.
Well, and then the trickle down from that going into the rec driving for the Rubicon, Ford Ice, Bear Lake and things like that, the recreational wheeler, because they're not going to drive 13 miles down and 13 miles up on Ford Ice from Meadow Lake if they have range anxiety,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and the other thing too is that when it comes to like solar panels to charge, like that's all well and good, that does something, but I mean, you could have your entire roof, hood, and trunk full of solar panels, and in an entire day, you'll get 4 miles.
Yeah, you're gonna have to camp at Rubicon Springs for a couple months.
The conversion rate for that's literally like 10%. So like you're only using 10% of whatever you can get from the sun. Technically,
right?
Yeah.
Well, and the solar cell technology hasn't really advanced.
It works for certain applications, but it doesn't work for like a vehicle.
No.
So one of the things you mentioned on the last podcast is going from like zero charge or very low charge to 80% goes pretty quick.
Yep.
But it's that last 20% that takes a long time. So that was part of your talk last time. So now with this addition of battery packs that you've got and everything, are you planning on doing any charging at all?
Yep.
You are okay. And then the couple. How long does that take? Couple hours, you said.
Well, I guess it depends on. I guess I wish I could give you a real solid answer. Like we had a charger set up and we've already tested on the battery.
Right.
What's supposed to work? What the internet says, right, is that the chargers I got that we have they should put 4 kilowatts of juice into the battery. I'm not exactly sure what the time frame is on that. But so with a 6,500 watt generator, that's very common, right? 6,500 watt utility contractor generator.
Right.
We should be able to power these 4K chargers, and it's 2 in tandem, wired in parallel to get even more juice in quicker. Basically, we're going to leave the line. Since the 62 is going to fit, I'm going to get another 62. And that way, when we leave the line, we're only going to have a 62 in the car to reduce weight.
Okay.
When we get to the first pit, it's roughly 20 miles, so we should have enough juice. When we get to the first pit, we're going to put a fresh 62 and a 24, which we already have, into the car. That's for the long loop. During that long loop, which will take us hours, because it's 45 miles, we're not going to do 60 miles an hour, so it's going to take us hours. We'll charge that depleted 62.
Okay. So
we should be able to swap the 62 and remove the 24 for the 20-ish miles back to pit, back to Maine, and that's the 90-mile course for the EVs this year.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'll just drop it right now. I think we already talked about it, but. We want to then continue on course and go hit the rocks.
Okay, so
like the rest of the stock class.
So
even though that's not part of what the EV class is, we want to see what this thing does in the stock class. That's part of what we want to do. If everything's going good, we're not stopping. We're gonna go. We want to line up with the 46.
So Dave Cole and JT and them have already they got a shorter course set up for you per se. So what you're doing the first section with everybody.
That's what I got was the EV class is just going to be the desert loop.
Okay.
The 90-mile desert loop.
Okay, so and no rocks.
No rock trails.
Yeah.
There are some rocks in it.
Yeah.
But not the same as
you're not doing.
Right.
You're not doing Sledge, Chocolate Thunder.
No. But we want to do that from the outset. Before we found out that we were only required to do the first lap, we wanted to do the first and second lap.
So there's gonna be a little sign out there that says EVs this way. A little arrow.
The idea is we're going to blow past that thing. We're going to run it. We're going to run it over.
That's what I want to see.
So it sounds like there's going to be more than one EV.
As I hear, as of right now, no. I'd love for some competition.
That'd be sweet.
If we're the only one, then it's obviously like we're real racers, we're real competitors. It's not really a race if you win and nobody else entered. Like that we're not.
Right.
That wouldn't be a real trophy as far as any of us are concerned. Yeah. We would love for competition. We hope for it. If nobody shows up this year, we hope for it next year. We hope we can kind of spark that and get that going.
I know. I didn't tell you, Chris, on the way over here, I got a call from Cody Wagner. He's going to have a Prius on 40s. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Bring it out. Put a cage in it and line it up. Let's go.
Sticky 40s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it, motherfucker.
Come on. Line it up. Let's do it. We'll race against 40s. We don't get
that's-
that. Come on.
I mean, yeah.
I'll be mad if he actually brings one. I'm like, oh, shit, here we go.
So let's circle back a little bit and kind of let's talk about timeline now. We're roughly, when this episode airs, we're going to be about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
No, great. Just
Yeah, the
piss on
timeline.
the whole parade
Yeah.
here, Chris.
We're doing great.
All right. So instead of, how do you eat an elephant, right?
One piece at a
piece
time.
at a
Exactly.
time.
So
Just like Johnny Cash.
how we laid out the whole, the plan, we ended up, looking at the whole elephant. Well, I broke it down in weeks.
Okay.
So now we're on week 3. So week 3 we're on schedule. So
Okay.
we're back on schedule.
Great.
So we were 2 weeks behind. So yeah, we're on schedule.
I feel confident that we have the components, the knowledge, and the straight up the gumption, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have this car moving at the start line. It's just how cool can we make it?
Right.
How hammered out can we get the details? But we're going to be at the start line. That is absolutely
I
a
have
fact.
no doubt
Heck
that
yeah.
that's going to happen.
Yeah,
You guys,
so
you guys
but
are cool.
for sure. We're
You're gonna make
super tight on the timeline. We started months late, really. We're
It's all right. I mean, hey, you're marrying two freaking, you got all the mechanical stuff set. You know how four-wheel drive operates and all that stuff and suspension and all that, right? And then you're marrying in this brand new technology to create this EV. So, but you have made a ton of progress since we've been here last and figured out a lot of the things that you had, I don't want to say no clue about, but you didn't know how it was going to go together, right? So now those things have been figured out. And so, I mean, the power steering, the brakes, the radiator, all that stuff you've done before. That's easy. And especially since you don't have to plumb it, you just got to run wires and switches. That's pretty straightforward stuff. So,
and they've got it sitting on race tires.
yeah. It's
Those are 10s on 20s.
yeah.
fit in the toy hauler.
Well, exactly. So, it reminded me of seeing the monster trucks when they load them into trailers,
Right.
and they got the little tiny shoes they put on them to get them in and out of the trailers, right, for transport. But
That's great.
yeah.
So
Will wants to say something here.
Sure.
So there's mating the motor to the key to put the motor to the transmission. That was a very expensive rendition that we went through.
It wasn't like Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't snap together.
Yeah, so we're on a second or third rendition.
Second rendition.
Second
I'd
rendition.
say.
Yeah, second rendition, and we're learning. So we got the right people. So like what Kyle was saying, it's the knowledge, and it's having the right people and having the right equipment and tools, which is making this a lot more seamless.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
it makes it more
perfect.
seamless. And it's the convenient. We all live within a couple miles
Yeah.
or across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Or within a couple blocks
Sure.
of key people that, are part of this. And give a shout out to Charlie P. Charlie Pangolino.
Oh man, Charlie has massively boosted this build. He's a great guy that I got to know so far. Just through this build is how I met him. Man, he has done he's really helped me out when it comes to the high voltage, the battery stuff. That's the only reason why I had any sort of confidence tonight.
Right.
I learned it from a fellow who it's his profession, is high voltage.
Okay, what's his background?
Yeah.
Okay.
But besides that, he's just an awesome guy. Can't say enough about Chucky P. Really helped
Chucky
out
P.
a lot with how we're gonna, and he still is continuing to help out with this build. Big number one contributor, I would say. Like,
awesome.
and I know you're here and you're here, but no, seriously, he's got the pennant right now for sure.
Okay,
for sure. And so hopefully we can keep that rocking and rolling, and together, with the whole team and Charlie, we'll have this thing on the start
I
line.
have no doubt.
I gotta imagine. I mean, when you ask for help or expertise from somebody, they got to be just super ecstatic about when they hear what you're trying to achieve, and like they're willing to help you anyway. I mean, it's not like they're out there trying to build something themselves to compete with you, right? So it's like and that's all been part of the Ultra 4, family and fun is contributing to the, get you out to that race course and on the start line, and then we'll beat you out on the race course. But I got to imagine a lot of people, when you tell them about this project, are just like, oh man, that's freaking cool. Here's what I know, or this might help you, or whatever, right? So,
for the most part,
yeah.
I'm not here to toot my own horn. I just know how to pick them. I did have a couple bad apples that said that they were going to help out, and I flat out told them, say, hey, you said you were going to come by, go fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, just...
Well, yeah, you
got things to
if
do,
you're
and
going
you
to
got
commit,
to have a
yeah,
team
if
that
you're going
gets
to
it
commit,
done.
Yeah, you don't need people to come over here and drink all your beer. You need people to turn wrenches and make this thing work, right?
Do I have to leave?
Right, Chris? Yeah, you got to leave now. Yeah.
But going back to Chucky P being me and him go back way back.
Yeah.
Air Force days, import drag, Honda drag racing days, illegals. I mean, recreational stuff on the street.
There you go.
But Chucky P is definitely my right hand man from back in the day, starting doing the drag racing thing. And Chucky's just he's down. He's down for the cause. He's if you need help, he's there. And him knowing about the electrical stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck it, bring it.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, but also there's a lot to say about like just Kyle himself, like the energy he brings with everything. It's just like before this build even started, like Kyle one day was like, "Hey, you guys want to build a race car?" And we're just like, "Sure, why not?" And then he just kept the same energy literally the whole time, just like always high, like full throttle, like let's do something fun. Let's like he's from like Mass, so literally like all the people I know from Mass still hang out with like the people they grew up with, and they still do the same stuff they ever do, and they encourage being out with each other. And then it's just he's just bringing that like the New England style over to California, and just trying to have as much fun time as much as he can with his friends out here. And then it's just very, very like contagious with the like just like, makes you want to have fun with him.
That's key there, the contagious part, and it's great because Kyle's very knowledgeable, but he's I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to figure it out, right? He's got that can-do attitude, and that's the key.
I could just see
right there.
Hey, you guys want to build a race car? Yeah, sure, sounds good. Oh, hey, by the way, we're not going to use gas engine. Shit! Everybody does that.
Hey, so one thing I want to add too is what made this build even more special was that Kyle's dad was here few days ago.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Uncle Larry was here.
Nice.
What did
Uncle Larry think of this operation?
Fucking badass.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. He came in here and, did his thing, helped out. And,
One of the wirings, he definitely his path was mostly electrical, and he helped out a lot with the wiring and the way that the motor needs to see the resolver and just making that connection. Basically, stripping down the Nissan Leaf harness to get rid of what we don't need, but keeping what we do need for the stripped down VCU, right?
Sure,
for that aftermarket component. So just that and it was awesome. It was an awesome few days in the shop.
Yeah, it was fucking cool, man.
That's
cool
great.
Dude, cool, calm, collective. He just brings that, like what Jeff was saying.
It's just a great team. It's a great team that we got, So that's what's going to put the car on the line.
Heck
It's
yeah.
the team.
Another bite of the elephant, right?
Yeah, and you'll see that around U4. Everybody says that because it's true. I mean, it's the team that puts the car on the line.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to the knowledge that we've learned and what the components that we're using and things, I want to spell this out. I want to share this knowledge. None of this is under wraps. let's give this out, put it on forums, put it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever,
Cool.
so that when it comes to the component list, the part numbers of the coupler, when it comes to exactly what we do with the batteries and what we use, that's all available for anybody else. Like we want to try to, because that's part of the Ultra 4 way. That's how it is.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And
Cool.
it's this journey right now. I mean, the memories that you guys are making and, things that you're learning. I mean, the goal's to get to that start line and go race. But I think this is the fun part here is just making this thing work and getting it there, right? Yeah. So right on, man.
I want to do burnouts.
I think it'll do that, no problem.
Yep.
No problem.
Especially on these tires.
Especially with the skinnies. Reverse burnouts. Motor in reverse, trans in reverse, burning out and forward. Beer hanging out the window.
We'll see if those
We're not
Toyota...
condoning alcohol usage while you're driving.
Private property.
No drinking and driving. Drive then drink.
Yeah. That's the way to
Drinking apple juice, guys.
Apple
Right.
juice.
Talking about Mountain Dew, baby.
You guys want to do any
Tennessee
shout
apple
outs?
juice. Yeah, you got final thoughts here. We're definitely going to hit you up another time, at least once, before you hit the desert floor here. And then on the desert floor, it's game on.
I'll give a shout out to our sponsors, CJCoffroad.com. Go check them out for any Carly, Dodge, Ford, things like that. Top notch. All they sell is quality shit. Bentech for all your software CAD. You want to bend up a cage, you're going to need software.
Yep.
An idiot like me could figure it out. You could figure it out too with the Bentech. Who else? We got Fat Four Customs. If you're into imports, you got the Honda Accords. He specializes in suspension, things of the like. And last but not least, we also got used to be Rome Lost. Now that he is called Elevated and Lost? Something like that. I totally hacked that up. I apologize, but it's Rome Lost. Go look up Rome Lost, and it's David Cole. David Cole and Bailey Cole, man. So
Bailey's awesome.
Yeah, so
Elevated and Lost.
Elevated and Lost.
New name. Elevated and Lost. That's a recent change.
Yep.
Okay.
So Elevated and Lost. Go check
them
him out. And he was just interviewed by ABC News or something like that.
Oh,
They're
really?
local.
Yeah, getting the trash out. That's
Yep.
a major thing is getting the trash out of the wilderness. It doesn't belong there. Kill all litter bugs. That kind of thing. Awesome programs got going on. Great friends of ours.
Right on.
So that's who they are, man. So shout out to all you guys.
That's
Big
awesome.
Oh,
My
bad.
here we go. Wait, this
Pro
just
Eagle
in.
and Pro Eagle. Yes, Chuck.
Jack.
Thank you, Chuck. Pro Eagle.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, we'll hashtag it up there in the on the gram, but that's awesome, man. Well, guys, to be continued. Super exciting, man. I'm just so looking forward to. That's all right. Just a little air. It's a shop.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this. The next time we come by and see what the next progress point is here. But great work. Keep it up. You guys are an inspiration here. I love it. Working out of a garage and making it happen.
With our friends.
With your friends, exactly
big
right.
things. Working out of a garage with our friends, having a good time, learning, working on shit. That's it. That's where it's at.
Okay, we're going to end this thing before this air compressor blows on us.
No, it's bleeding out. It's bleeding out.
I know. All right. Live it.
So love it. Live it.
Wait.
Race it.
Okay, do that again. We
Yeah,
need
do
that.
it
Let's do that clean. Go ahead, do it.
Love it.
Live it.
Race it.
There we go. So there's the update. EVE.
They got a lot of work to do.
They do, but they're making steady progress.
They're committed.
They got their eye on the prize.
They do.
They're
got
passionate.
They got a plan.
And it will happen. And I love the batteries that they brought in, the new battery pack, and how they're going to adapt.
We were there when that
it
was cracked
delivered.
open. Apparently, that, as you heard in the podcast, there was we're the first people on the other than the people that built those battery packs. We're the first non-manufacturers to see the inside of that pack.
And I'm a mechanical guy, and I looked at that thing, and I was amazed at how small gauge the wires are between the batteries.
Right.
I mean, I would expect double-aught, fucking welding wire between each battery, super.
Well, yeah, I think, but as you make the bigger connections going from battery.
Well, it is. It's
the wire progressively gets larger.
To get to 400 volts.
400 volt. How many?
400
amps
volts.
I don't
know. It was 1.2 gigawatts.
1.21
gigawatts. But the cool thing was watching Kyle reach over when this thing landed on their driveway, literally on their driveway on a pallet.
Uh-huh.
And it's just this metal can, this, what was it, like 6 foot by 3 foot wide, 4 foot wide, something.
Yeah,
it was significant.
I don't think it was.
It was the size of a pallet.
It's big.
Okay,
yeah,
so
5 by 4 or something like that.
Something like that.
Right.
And in the middle of this battery pack is we talked about it here.
Disconnect.
A disconnect. And it's just this plastic, deal with a copper conductor that basically, kills the battery pack by removing it.
Right.
And, so as soon as Kyle got there and he's like, okay, we need to take this off and now it's safe. It's like putting the pin back in the fucking
the
grenade, right?
And I made the comment, that probably shouldn't have shipped that way.
I know. And it is surprising that it did ship like that. But anyways, and then when they pop the top open and it's all sealed, so it doesn't have water intrusion and stuff.
Right.
It had this crazy, butyl fucking whatever.
Black cock
seal. And you see all these battery packs, these cells connected together and all these little wires. And I'm just like, holy smokes. That's,
and they got to connect every single one of those things together.
That is a battery puzzle. So, I mean, hey, they're on track.
Yep. Well, they're not on track yet.
Well, yeah, they are. According to Will, they are.
They're on track.
They're on track.
They're not on the racetrack.
No, they're not on a racetrack, but they're on track with this thing. So that's freaking great.
It's super cool. I mean, we have. I don't know. We're probably going to follow up with them at least 1 or 2 more times.
I've got to follow up at least one more time before before race day,
and
then we will catch them on the lake bed.
Of course.
Apparently we camped next to them last year.
Apparently that's
with
the
Boston
case.
Kyle. How funny is that? Small fucking world. We were there, and people that have been to King of the Hammers know the lighted teepee.
And
and
the kind of famous
3-wheeler. Circle track,
3-wheel shit show.
So if you don't know about that, you need to educate yourself and learn about the track because it is on Google Earth.
What is it? Flobama? No,
Orbama, Oregon and Alabama,
Alabama, that's
Orbama.
Right.
So very very freaking cool. I'm super freaking stoked for KOH right now.
No, it's getting closer. I mean, at this point, we should be. What, 4 weeks?
We're 4 weeks away. Yeah, we're at the beginning of
3 weeks.
Are we? No, we're at the end of this podcast is going to release at the end of December. So yeah,
4 weeks,
3.5. I don't have my calendar in front of me right now. Lorenzo ain't doing shit.
No, he's useless. It's late.
Has he already just checked out for the holidays? Is that what's going on?
He's been hitting the eggnog.
Did they even celebrate
eggnog?
Oh, he's been in the eggnog.
Oh yeah. You see the empty carton over there?
Okay. Now that look, his little tail's wagging halfway there. Okay. All right. That's what's been going on. But
okay. Well, KOH and eggnog.
We've got some swag coming for KOH, some neck gaiters, so you can be socially distanced and masked up and safe. We've got some koozies. New and improved koozies that will be there. And we got stickers. And if you need any swag to represent on the lake bed, we would love for you to visit our website, merchandise page. And you know what you can do? You can save 10%.
That's right.
You don't have to be a patron. Patrons save 20%.
Mm-hmm.
But 10%, and it's Lorenzo 10.
Lorenzo 10, all one word.
Yep, Lorenzo 10, and that will also save you on the Dirtbag site if you want to peruse Dirtbag Johnny's.
Look at the big zip
site there. Yeah, well, he's got some cool stuff.
He's got a lot of
that
cool
big
stuff.
zip is really cool. but there's some great clothing there, and just peruse and see. It's going to be too late for Christmas at this episode, but you know what? Birthdays, whatever. Yep. Just a gift, just to say you care.
Represent, and if you buy some stuff, then take a picture of you wearing it, or
so tag us. That's a good point. That's a good point. Tag us on the gram,
Instagram,
and we will repost, and that's a cool thing. And I guess we were a little remiss. We misspoke a little bit. I don't know if we've corrected this in previous podcasts that Tyler from Snail Trail helps host our website.
He does.
Not our website. Our website? He hosts our website.
He hosts our website. That's correct.
He basically holds the keys. He holds the purse strings to this operation.
He's got us by the
short hairs.
Short hairs.
Does he?
Uh-huh.
That's scary. Toyota guy?
We have pictures of him.
That's all right. I heard he bought a new vehicle that will be good.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Check him out at Snail Trail.
Snail Trail 4x4. They have helped us out. In all seriousness, they've helped us out from day one.
Exactly.
We would not have excelled as quickly in the. They shortened our learning curve in the podcasting world
dramatically, and
we've helped each other. I've been happy to impart knowledge to them, and they've imparted knowledge to us.
We'll correct all their mistakes.
Yeah. But Tyler, I guess the server's sitting on his floor in his house that helps host this podcast. So
really?
Yeah, we got to give Tyler credit for that.
It's just a box in his house?
It's some box that has a fan and a hard drive that spins around really fast and holds all these ones and zeros.
Fancy server farm somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's his Bitcoin farm. That's his other business.
Well, that explains a lot.
But yeah, so check out Snail Trail 4x4 and also Morphlate. That's Tyler's other gig. He's got like his hands in every.
He does.
I remember when I used to be young and had my hands in many different pots and stuff. And now, I just worry about myself.
That's right.
Whatever. And then we got to give a shout out to Mike and Max. We spoke with Mike.
This evening.
Yeah. I had a great, funny conversation with Mike.
We've got to get it.
He is a squirrel, man.
He is.
You look up definition of squirrel, and that's Mike, and he's a patron. He supports the podcast.
That's right, Mike. Mike from Mike and Max.
Mike from Mike and Max's podcast. Max is on there occasionally, but we have yet to meet Max. And
calling him out.
How long? It's been a year and a half since we met Mike.
Well, it was SEMA 20.
Okay.
What year? 19.
So a year and a few months.
Yeah.
That we physically met Mike, but we had talked to him previously.
Walked into a house with a total stranger.
Yep, and
could have been an axe murder.
It could have been.
Fortunately, it wasn't.
No, and a great guy and funny. And then we did that podcast. You got to go back to that podcast. If you are just now starting to listen to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, do yourself a favor and go back to previous episodes. And Lorenzo's looking it up right now. It's about time you do something, Lorenzo. But this was the SEMA podcast, the Shit Show SEMA podcast, and it actually spanned across 3 podcasts. So it spanned across. We did episode 2. So I think Snail Trail did 1. The first part where we were somewhat sober, and then we did the second. We aired the second section, and then Mike and Max did the third. So it was freaking hilarious. But this is back in November of 19.
19.
November 19, yeah, because we just had November 20. I want this year to be over with.
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's episode coming up. Lorenzo's got it.
Episode 27.
27. So it's part 2 of the Las Vegas Shit Show podcast. And it is if you like hearing drunk people talk about four-wheeling and SEMA, just give it a listen. It was pretty epic with all 3 podcasts involved there.
It deteriorated rapidly. It definitely do not listen to it with your children.
No.
For adults.
Jimmy was there, but Tyler was not. And then Mike was there, and Max was not. But Chris and Jason were there from the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey podcast. And Georgia Boy was in the background.
Snicker. Well, he was asleep. He was actually
he chimed in, though. He chimed in a few times on ours. So, anyways, just a little side tangent there, but it is fun talking with these other podcast hosts.
Oh yeah, learn our craft
sharing,
and expand our craft, and
sharing and giving
craft.
each other shit. So
That's exactly sharing knowledge.
It's a good stuff. So,
Right
anyways, is there anything else? I did want to mention. I don't think I mentioned way back when Sherpa.
Oh, the Sherpa
story. I don't think I told the Sherpa story.
I don't know which one.
So we were at, or I was at the Snail Trail, new Snail Trail headquarters.
Right.
Not the Snail Trail Garage. So Tyler's new abode.
His house.
And I crashed the party. I came in, and then Sherpa showed up. And we talked about that on the podcast, but I don't think I talked about what happened. So I had 4 bottles of high quality bourbon.
That's how you roll.
Yeah, because I just travel with bourbon just to share. I share with people, you know. And I put them out on this table, and the Sherpa came over and was caressing and fondling all these bottles.
Oh, really?
And he
molesting them?
He wasn't molesting them, but he was fondling them.
Okay.
And if I was the bottle, I would have felt very uncomfortable. And he picked up the bottle of Uncle Nearest, and Butterfingers dropped it on the ground.
Oh my God.
And this bottle, not only, it was half full, roughly half full. And I don't know how, but it fell off a normal size table, which is what
3.5 feet,
freaking 2.5, 3 feet, off the ground, and it bounced off a concrete, the concrete garage floor. Bounced.
Wow!
Like not once, not twice, like 6 times.
What?
It was like a basketball.
And it shattered.
And I'm like, oh my God! And it didn't break.
It did not break.
Did not break.
Wow.
So I think the Sherpa has magical powers or something.
Well,
he
he's just
touched the
lucky.
bottle and very, very freaking lucky. He should have bought a lottery ticket that day.
Right?
But anyways, I've been remiss to tell that story, and I had to interject that into this podcast here for the new year.
Is this before or after they were juggling the tennis balls?
This was before.
Oh, so he can juggle tennis balls, but he can't handle a bottle of bourbon.
No, he can't.
Wow.
He can't.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know now in the future, because I always take notes, mental notes of people that handle their alcohol, don't like the alcohol, slam the alcohol, whatever. So I take mental notes.
Bad alcohol.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, now I know not to have any glass bottles around him. I need to hand him a plastic flask.
Well, you had the bottom shelf stuff, the Weld.
No. He did appreciate the quality of the alcohol, so there was no question there. I have no problem sharing good bourbon with him, but whiskey.
The bottom shelf all comes in the plastic bottle.
Well, yeah, that's true. Those those bottles. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's what he's used to is plastic bottles. I don't know.
Obviously, we're going to hear from him on this.
Yeah, I don't know. Florida, but
do you have internet in Florida?
I think they do.
Oh,
I think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to.
Well, there it is.
I don't know. But anyways, so I had to throw that out there. So.
How'd that bus feel, Sherpa?
Yeah. He's a patron, too.
Yes, he is.
He's a top-tier patron, we appreciate that.
Absolutely. We love all of our patrons.
We do, but he does deserve some shit coming back to him from the emails that he's written over the last year.
And dropping an expensive bottle.
We do expect another email out of this because it's been a while, Sherpa, so let's see. He hits Snail Trail and us, and he calls us out on shit, so...
Yeah. I mean,
bring it on.
So we got to wonder what goes on in his mind as he's typing these things.
Oh, it's pretty good, good stuff.
Sure.
Well, good in quality of ripping someone a new one.
Absolutely.
No holds bar.
No,
and I appreciate that.
Doesn't
I do
pull
appreciate
his
that.
Pull his punches either.
No, I appreciate that. He's very candid.
Yep, exactly. All right.
So that's episode 85. 85 and our last episode of the year, Chris.
Boom.
We've already celebrated Christmas.
Yep.
It was great.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Got everything I ever wanted.
Huge. You did. So what did you get your private jet? Did you get your yacht?
Well, I mean,
you get your mansion?
It's a remote controlled private jet. Does that count?
Yeah, it all counts.
It doesn't take
out.
It just rolls on the ground.
You know, everybody should get a fucking prize for just making it through 2020. Is my opinion.
I got a
participation award. I'm not into participation awards, but everybody should get a fucking trophy.
I think we should get a shirt. Everybody should get a shirt. I survived 2020. Well, yeah, I survived 2020.
So with that, I hope you had Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we are rolling into 2021 strong
with a pear tree.
With a, I'm gonna drop a carrot here. Justin Hall is going to be our first interview in 2021.
Really?
Yep. So there you go.
Boom. We're out.